As you walk through the valley of the shadow of hell, you will realize that there is something ahead. Something that lurks behind the dark veil. A veil that is beyond our own comprehension. Beyond the void.
What's up, guys, and welcome back to Beyond the Void
Horror Podcast.
That's right, we're back for episode 132, and today we're going to be doing a Flesh and Potatoes episode of small creatures again, and sexiness and bad humor.
Sure.
We're actually going to be doing Critters, a new binge on Shudder, as well as
Hobgoblins.
It's considered to be one of the worst movies ever.
Yep.
And so you're going to want to stick around for that because we're going to be doing that one last. But we'll let you know if it really is all that bad and if Critters is any good at all. To much anticipation, by the way. But yeah, guys, so it's a brand new week. I'm excited to talk about these two movies. Brittany, how have you been? How are things going this week? It's been like so short because we're recording like 2 days earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you do anything interesting or this weekend or something?
Yeah, we went to see Boy Harsher.
Oh, yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah, it was good?
Yeah.
I heard saw some people talking about it.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
It was really crowded.
So how was the show?
It was good.
Yeah?
Yeah, we got really drunk. So that was fun. But it was nice. Like, it was sold out. It sold out like a month ago.
Really?
And we were trying to get tickets like assholes on Saturday. And a friend of mine actually works there.
Oh.
So she was able to
work it out.
To get us in to the thing. So I have two friends that work there now, which is kind of cool.
Oh, wow.
But I'm not that kind of person that expects things from
Yeah,
people
I was
that
gonna
work
say,
places, you know? My birthday party is this weekend.
Oh, you're having a birthday party?
I'm having a party at Nocturne.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
celebrating at Nocturne.
Well, maybe I'll try to make it out. What is it, a Saturday?
Saturday.
Of course.
Saturday night.
I'll try to maybe after I stream or something. Because I do stream on Saturdays, so it's tough.
Fine.
But yeah.
I'm going to be drunk. I don't care.
I don't even know what the fuck I'm doing for my birthday.
I
don't even know.
There's next week, right?
Christina's like, what do you want to do? I was like, I don't know, get old?
Die.
I don't fucking know.
That was my answer. Die.
It's my 70th birthday. I'd like to go visit the Titanic. I'd like to find the blue necklace, please.
The blue necklace?
Yeah. It's been so many years. You haven't seen that, though, have you?
Titanic?
Yeah, have you seen that? Somebody told me they didn't see it recently.
Have
and
I
was
seen
like,
Titanic?
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Well, I don't know.
I own that fucking bitch on VHS.
Somebody recently just told me that they hadn't seen Titanic, and I was like,
That's
really?
weird.
That is weird.
It's weird. That's a weird one, I feel like.
I mean, it's not like a movie that everybody needs to see, but maybe...
That is a movie everybody needs to see.
I mean, it's cool, like all the death and destruction in it. It's kind of crazy. Plus, you get to see Pickled DiCaprio in the fucking...
It's all about Kate Winslet's titties. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Paint me like one of your French girls.
Fucking love her.
I'm on top of the world!
It's a great movie.
I don't even remember how it goes anymore. It's been a while.
And what's his name?
Billy Zane.
Billy Zane. He's so hot.
Yeah.
I love him.
Anyway, guys, now that we've decided to change the type of podcast.
We're going to talk about Titanic now.
Yeah, it's going to be a minute-for-minute podcast about Titanic.
This will take 7 years.
Anyway, guys, I think it might be that time.
What time is it?
Horrorshots! So if you guys have ever seen the movie Hobgoblin, you'd probably know that in the movie there's like a 900 sex operator in the movie, and her name is Fantasia. So we thought it'd be kind of fun to make a drink based around the actress
Tamara Clutterbuck.
what a name, who plays Fantasia in the movie, is the sex actress, the phone sex actress, I guess. She's also working, it looked like in the background, like she was working at a real estate agency, too. Because she kept picking up the phone and hanging it up or
like
whatever.
A normal job.
But, so, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be calling this drink 1-900-Fantasia. So what is in a 1-900 Fantasia? All you have to do is put in 1 part Malibu rum, 1 part hypnotic, because she's so hypnotizing with her words, and then 1 part blue cream soda. So it's basically you mix it all together and an ice, you pour it out for shots for your friends, and you get shit-faced and call a 900 number at your friend's house. Because that's what you do in this movie, apparently. But before you drink it, you say something that she said in the movie, and it's, "Oh no, Mr. Zookeeper, you don't want to be in the baboon cage, do you?"
So weird.
It just feels dirty saying it, even.
It's like the weirdest exchange.
Dude, it made me laugh, like, out loud, like, genuinely, because
I was just, like, staring very strangely at the TV screen.
Now, guys, we've been doing pretty damn good on these shots. Like, I've been taking them even when we didn't do them live. We're not doing one live today because we don't have the ingredients today. But we're doing this an episode or like a couple days early.
It's Tuesday, y'all.
Yeah, it's Tuesday, so we're on this shit. So, but if you would like to try a 1-900 Fantasia, all you have to do is go to longlivethevoid.com and check out our hashtag Horrorshots section now. Well, that's it for Horrorshots.
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 So now we're going to go ahead and jump into our flesh and potatoes of Critters, a new binge, and
Hobgoblins.
Right now.
All right, guys, so now we're going to go ahead and kick it off with Critters, a new binge from 2019. I'm sorry.
You're so funny.
I couldn't help it. It was right there. It was laying out in the open, and I just had to put it in there. But the story of Critters, a new binge, is critters return to Earth searching for a lost friend that was left behind. They land in Burbank and soon torment a group of high schoolers and their families. Neat. I'm sorry. The director, writer, and executive producer on this is Jordan Rubin, who is known for doing Zombievers and another movie about a consumer drone that has become sentient with the consciousness of a deranged serial killer called The Drone.
Oh.
Actually, that sounds pretty cool. I'm kind of curious about that.
I feel like we've watched that or something very similar.
It's got to be terrible, but I just got to know.
I just got to know.
The movie was also written by Al Kaplan, who also worked on Zombievers, The Ghosting, The Drone, Piranaconda, Dino Croc versus Super Gator.
Sweet.
The Hills Have Thighs.
Thighs?
Yeah. You know, it's funny, though, when we went on tour, we were out in the middle of nowhere taking a piss, and I took a picture of everybody peeing because I thought it was funny. and I titled it, I said, The Hills Have Guys.
The Hills Have Guys.
I was like, perfect porn name. Can you catch a theme here, sort of, like kind of the idea of different types of movies that are being written for here? Also, it has
theme?
What?
The theme is crap?
No. I don't want to say that. Also, it has writer and composer John Kaplan, who I believe is the brother of Al Kaplan. They're brothers or something. But John Kaplan, who does both writing and composing for a lot of the same stuff. He's done it for this series, The Critters, a New Binge. He's done the scores and wrote pretty much the same movies as his brother Al Kaplan has. A few others, of course, but this movie stars Joey Morgan, who plays Christopher, who was more recognizable in Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse.
Oh my God, that's where I know him from.
I know. I was like, I know him.
This is killing me the whole time, and I was like, I'm too lazy to search it because I don't really care, but I know him.
He's the guy with the fucking the Nerf gun, the thing where he blows a friend's head off.
I love that fucking movie.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Have we done that? We should do that.
I don't think we have, actually. So
let's do that. I love that movie.
Haven't done zombies in a while.
So fun.
He was also in a movie called Camp Mana. He was also in Sierra Burgess is a Loser.
Yep, that's where I know him from too, because I've seen that.
I don't even know what that is.
It's a Netflix movie.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of dumb.
It also stars Steffi Chin Salvo, who she is Dana, the vegan love interest, sort of. She was in a movie, or in the TV series, I, Zombie as Yasmin. Also, quote, sexy zombie is what they called her. Supergirl, Reboot, The Guardian Code, and the Overboard remake, and more. Also stars Bijan Roden, who plays Charlie, the best friend. He was in Van Helsing TV series as Felix, a movie called Dragged Across Concrete, which sounds, yeah, that's not a very good visual, huh?
No.
Also stars Kirsten Robeck, who plays Veronica the mom. She's actually been in a ton of stuff since the 90s. She was on a show called Mercy Point, which you might be familiar with. Smoking Aces 2, Assault on Wall Street, Jingle All the Way to, Hell on Wheels TV show, Shut Eye on Hulu, and many, many more. Also stars Christian Sloan, who plays Holt, the delivery guy. He was in Twilight Saga Breaking Dawn Part 1, Star Trek Beyond as I don't remember who he was on there, but he was also in the movie Warcraft, Death Note. I did recognize him from
Death Note?
the Netflix movie. And he was also in the Black Christmas remake, and also Hell on Wheels TV show as well. It also stars Gilbert Gottfried, who plays Uncle Murray, who started in stand-up and has been in movies like Aladdin, the original one, not the weird one, that's coming out here soon. Fucking weird, dude. He was Lago, the parrot, of course. He was also in the movie Problem Child, Beverly Hills Cop 2, Look Who's Talking 2 as Joey, and he was in the TV show akin to Joe Bob Briggs Drive-In called USA Up All Night. It's a pretty good impression, I would think. But anyway, so I'm jerking myself off here.
He's getting old.
Yeah. He talks a little bit more normal than...
A little bit. It was kind of weird.
I think he's just lost. It's almost like he lost his power in that a little bit. It was. I'll explain more later. But Tom Lennon is in this as well. Mr. Weber, the principal he plays. He was in Reno 911 as Lieutenant Jim Dangle.
I love him
Lieutenant.
so much.
He was also the writer for Night of the Museum, by the way. He acted in 17 Again. He was Ned Gold. And he was also in I Love You, Man.
I know.
Those are actually pretty good roles for him, too. He was also in Lethal Weapon, the TV show, as Leo Getz, which I never did watch. And he also plays Chuck in Bob's Burgers, plus many more, of course.
I like him. He's one of those dudes that I'm just like, I love when he comes on the camera.
Right. Although I will say he was in, what was it? Puppet Master, The Littlest Reich, which it took me a little while to get into his character because it was so straight-laced.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost like he's, like, trying his hand at actual non-comedic acting, I think.
I just always see him going, "You're a whore, Peter."
Yeah.
Because
everybody,
I
we
Love
gotta
You, Man's
calm
one of
down.
my favorite movies, so.
Yeah.
I got two of my favorite, like, Hollywood dudes in one movie.
I've got a confession. I actually didn't mind 17 Again. That was actually...
No, that was kind of funny.
It was kind of funny, actually.
Yeah. It's like guilty pleasure shit.
It is
for
a
me.
guilty
it's like
pleasure.
Stupid movies like that, like, I'll watch them.
Yeah, it's like, watching, 17-year-old kids, like...
I need to watch feel-good stuff sometimes, okay?
Right. So, Brittany, what did you think of Critters, A New Binge? Was it everything that you wanted?
This is the best new horror series I've seen in a long time.
Okay. That's terrible. We're bad people.
It's so good, in fact, that I want to kill everyone involved in making it. I'm just kidding.
It's not that bad.
No, it's like, okay, so it's cheesy realness, I guess, is the best. I don't know. I hated it, but I also loved it at the same time. It's one of those things where I was like, I am so upset that I'm still watching this, but I also don't want to stop watching it.
Because you're just curious?
Because I'm just like, I need to see how this ends.
Well, I think everybody wants to see a train wreck.
Yeah, and yeah. So it's like a car accident. When
I'm
you
kidding,
drive by
guys.
it,
Calm down.
you got to slow down and still look a little bit.
Right.
You know, even though I don't like doing that because I hate people who do that. So I'm like,
It was that bad, though?
everyone wants to see a fucking, like, a bad situation. You know what I mean? And this is one of those where I was just like...
Well, why do you think it's bad?
So, the writing's terrible. The acting's pretty terrible. The effects are terrible.
Okay.
I felt like the movies...
So far, terrible. Okay.
I felt like the movies were better and looked more professional.
Okay.
And they were filmed in, like, the 80s.
Right.
So, there's that.
Where they could be more forgiven for...
Looking like shit. Yeah. Yeah. But I don't know, though, because then at the same time, I was like, this is just so dumb that I love it.
Right. Okay.
Like, I kind of love it, but I mostly hate it, but I also kind of love it. And then I am internally fighting myself, going, what are you thinking? This is fucking dumb.
Well, what did you...
And then I was like, did the people who made Sharknado make this shit? Because this feels very Sharknado-y.
Right. Okay.
Like, that's exactly what it feels like, and I fucking love Sharknado, so... I don't
well,
like how it continues, like,
you mean
it keeps going.
Stocknado.
Yeah, I don't like that it keeps going, okay, but I like the first one because it's hilarious. And, like, whenever I come across, like, Sci-Fi Channel and that's playing any of the Sharknados, I'll still watch it.
Really?
So fucking dumb, but it's just, like, a good, fun, dumb time.
Right.
This is something that you don't have to be invested in to understand what's happening.
Well, let me ask you this. What is one of your favorite TV shows?
My favorite TV shows, like, ever made, or
Yeah,
that
like
I'm
that you were
currently
just,
watching?
like, in love.
Of all, like,
A genre-styled stuff.
Deadwood.
What if they took Deadwood and turned it into Sharknado?
I'd kill them.
Okay.
I know where you're coming from.
Yeah,
on this.
okay.
Like, I can foresee your rant that's oncoming from, like, the second I started watching this show. I was like, oh Lord, Alex is gonna have a field day and it's gonna be great. But then, like, I didn't grow up with this, so
Sure. Okay,
it's gonna
that's
be
fair.
a little different for, like, my viewpoint's gonna be a little bit different than yours.
Right.
I'm not gonna recommend this to anyone by
Okay.
any means. Like, I do not recommend you waste your time watching it because it's not a lot of time you're gonna waste. It's like 8 episodes that are 10 minutes long. It's not a big deal.
I've seen
but
worse.
I have also seen way worse. Sci-Fi Channel in particular is very great about coming up with horrible shit.
Yeah.
But people still eat it all up. But this is just, it's like ultimate cheese.
What do you think about it compared to the Critter series as far as, like...
Oh, I love the movies, like, way more in comparison to this
Why?
crap.
Why would you say that?
Because it feels like there's more of, like, there's more heart to it. Like, they spent more time on developing these characters and actually coming up with a story and doing something original and doing something decent with it and going somewhere with it.
Okay.
Maybe not so much towards the end of, where they ended up with the movies, but at least in the beginning. And this just felt so forced and stupid. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Like, I don't understand where they went with this fucking story. Like, why they went the way that they did, and then now, obviously, they're, like, gonna try and continue it, and I'm like...
They're continuing it. No. That's just how it ended.
How it ends is
Yeah,
where
don't
it looks
spoil
like
it,
they're
of
going
course.
to try and continue it, and I'm just like, please no.
Yeah.
But, I don't know, there's gonna be people who fucking love this, and
Sure.
there's going to be people who fucking hate it, and then there's gonna be people in the middle like me that are just like, eh. But do I regret watching it? Not really.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
you have made me watch many worse movies that are way longer, and that's 2 hours of my time I can't
Yeah.
get back. Where
It's
this
not
is
boring.
like an hour.
It's
of my
not boring
time.
at the very least.
No, it flew by too. Like the
Right.
time I spent watching it just was like whoop, over, and I'm like, this is fun.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a thing.
Right.
The creatures
Well,
are cute.
Okay, so yeah, you did like the
I
creatures?
like the creatures. Thought they were cute.
Okay.
And they had a lot of personality in this, and that's
All
why I
right.
was like, that's fun.
Okay.
I will say they were fun, and they cursed a lot, and they cracked me up.
Okay.
So I did like the stupid creatures.
So I have some thoughts on
That's my
this.
plus.
I'm going to try to be as positive as I possibly can be.
Yeah, I was the nice one this time, guys.
And, well, it's just there's a thing, and I'll get into it. But initially, what I'm thinking while I'm watching this is like, what if a group of 15-year-olds with a heavy dose of horny fantasies about moms, a group of porn actors, and a sci-fi fan made a baby. You would have Critters, a new Binge. It's what I felt like. I was like, that's exactly what this is feeling like to me. Like the acting, the tone, the silliness, and if you thought the last two movies in the Critters franchise were bad, personally, I think you need to buckle up and get prepared to see a parody of a parody, a spoof of something that may have been dear to some people. A fan, possibly. This is definitely not a love letter to Critters fans, in my opinion. It could almost be an act of war to a fan of them, honestly.
I agree with you on that, because it did feel like it was more making fun of this entire franchise than anything. And
I mean, I kid a little bit here because I'm, trying to be entertaining, but in the same regards, I may be sounding harsh, guys, but truly, after we watched the entire franchise, I realize just how beloved it was to me. And this feels kind of like someone who didn't really get Critters made it. I mean, sure, maybe they understood, what Kreitz did, that it could even be a little silly at times, but what it kind of missed is, like you said, and I feel 100% on, the heart of those films. They may not have been perfect, but they're not just,
they fucking
we don't
tried.
just, shit all over art in some way, whatever, even if it's shitty art, you know what I mean? But there was something good about the first two movies at the very least, if you're going to have any gripes with the franchise at all. And, and that's what people, I think, really remember is what they liked about it, not necessarily what they disliked about it, because there was something magical there for me, especially as a kid. So this Critters, a new Binge, let's go for their ride, because I just never thought they were going to throw away all lore, throw away all of the heart and all of that. I thought, it's going to get silly, because that's it eventually got pretty silly in some parts, but it just feels completely different, and it's not in a good way. It just feels kind of like it didn't respect the fans of the shows, of the movie, and I think that's who you really have to hit it. There's something just completely off about this versus what I liked about the original series. And as a fan, I may have a different opinion than someone who never gave a fuck about Critters.
Right.
So, but one main gripe I had is that why are the Kreitz returning to Earth with this huge hierarchy of Kreitz from a planet of Kreitz, a president, a whole bunch? They never really even explain why or try to connect the movies or lore whatsoever.
No, there is zero
it's just
effort.
It's really weird. If you follow the franchise, you know that by the end of the last two movies, that there are always barely any of the fucking Kreitz left, and that part of the reason Charlie couldn't fucking destroy them is because they were the last known Krayt eggs, and the fucking bounty hunters told him not to destroy the fucking eggs because it's against some sort of law.
A law, yeah.
But because it would be considered genocide, essentially, of a fucking species. So, but unless the version is cutting out the last two because they kind of sucked more than the first two, but Critters: A New Binge isn't exactly better than those, in my opinion. Gilbert Gottfried was in this, as well as Uncle Murray, which you would think might be a huge plus, but nope, kind of stale and underutilized in my opinion. He had some comedic beats, but it just didn't feel right for whatever reason. You also have Tom Lennon of Reno 911, which we talked about, which he's decent in Puppet Master, The Littlest Reich, but it was a little rough at times in the beginning. But he was just okay in this one.
I didn't see the point in having either of them in this.
I think it was just to have star power. That's all I wanted.
Because they didn't utilize them at all.
Yeah, I mean, the main star, Joey Morgan, I recognize from, like I said, Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse, which, I think he did his part well. That's what he's best as, is being the kind of, bumbly kid who, happenstance falls into all this stuff like he did in Scout's Guide. It's probably why they picked him. Acting in this isn't award-winning, but neither is the writing, to be honest. It kind of serves its purpose, though, and I think so did the actors, they were handed what they were supposed to do. They think they did okay, I guess. You know, it's supposed to be a silly, spoofy kind of movie, and all the Krites in his films had personalities too, so they had sort of acting bits in them as well, as they like talked to each other the whole fucking time. They had like a pilot one, a president one, a general one, and they all had kind of like different personalities and shit, which is something they sort of touched on in the third movie with the Leonardo DiCaprio one, which we kind of quoted, hey, that was kind of a cool, unique thing that like one of them had a stripe and stuff. But no, these are like straight up personalities, like completely different things. I felt like it might have been just a little overdone, but you know, it's got a lot of really bad humor in it, you know, bad in like the sense like it's up in the air whether it's funny, but it's also just trying to hit the lowbrow humor a little bit too much. Like I giggled a couple of times in the movie because I'm like, oh my God. We'll point out some of that stuff in our favorite scenes, but the effects, like you mentioned, like the visual effects that they used in this were kind of jarring to me. Like I understand that there's a budget, but like even in part 2 of the critters, they used like a fucking projection, you know, on a fucking face to make him do his transformation, which was totally fine by me. Yeah, but in this, it looks like static TV and they switch into another person.
It's weird.
It was weird. It just didn't, I don't know, it just felt like kind of, I don't know. I've never seen the bounty hunters not have any real significant part in this either. Like there was some funny stuff that they were doing, but it wasn't like funny to me. Like it felt like kid humor.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how to explain it.
It feels very juvenile.
It did also have some really what the fuck story development in it that was interesting, but not in the oh wow that's cool kind of way, but more in the wait what the fuck is actually happening kind of way. You know, it was like perfectly fine. Like I said, taking the train off the tracks and just barreling over your childhood. Like it just didn't even care. Oh my God, Billy!
Billy's gone.
You know, it's got some stupid humor in it, but it's watchable to some degree. I'm not trying to shit on it completely. But the thing about the whole story not paying homage to the original kind of bothers me. Even though the CGI was bad too, by the way, guys, like I still tried to forgive it a little bit because you could tell because it's on a budget, you know what I mean? But I just feel like there could have been better ways to do it, especially since that's like kind of like the biggest thing in the entire franchise other than the critters is like the whole transforming.
Yeah.
Was like the extra element that made the movies worth a fuck. Like, but I don't know. I feel like kind of dirty watching this a little bit. I don't want to, like I said, completely shit on it, but as a fan of the franchise, it's kind of a deal breaker for me. And I'm not that type of person when it comes to trying new ideas in a seemingly dead franchise. But, you know, this just kind of felt like it went too far. It didn't respect the lore. It didn't respect the fans as much as I really think it should have. If it had been its own sort of thing, you know, like its own story that had nothing to do with critters, I would totally have no problem, as much a problem with this. I wouldn't love it, but I would be okay with it. So it just feels like you need to respect the fans of this a little bit, just a little bit. You know what I mean? So I would probably give this movie maybe like a 2 or a 3 out of 10 if I had to pick for the whole thing. I'm treating this like a movie because it's literally like 72 minutes long. If you add up all the 9-minute episodes, there's like 8. So it's like 72 minutes, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Could be less, technically. It's not a feature film, but it's close to an hour, basically. And look, guys, I'm not trying to be a douche here. I'm typically, you know, I like to find the silver lining in just about anything, especially when it comes to horror. I'm a fan of Zombievers. I actually think it's kind of a funny movie. Too. But this, that was its own entity. Zombievers is its own thing. That's totally cool. I have no problem with that. But we're talking about a movie franchise I grew up with, and even though I personally think that people can be a little too clutching of the pearls when it comes to their favorite series or TV shows or movies or whatever, I also think that, you know, this goes well beyond any understanding of the fans or franchise. So in my personal opinion, I have nothing against Jordan Rubin or anybody that worked on this film. It's just hard for me to swallow this version with a smile. So low budget or not, just my opinion. So, but I wouldn't mind seeing something else the other did because I do like Zombievers. Like, it's not like my favorite movie, but it was like a 6 or a 7 at least. You know what I mean?
Zombievers is fun.
Yeah.
It's so dumb.
It's fun. Really, yeah. It's almost like Handjob Cabin silly.
It's dumb fun.
You know what I mean? What score would you get it if you had to give it as like a feature film almost?
Probably like a 3.
Yeah.
2.5.
So some of the trivia on this is that they wanted to have, speaking of special effects, puppets, and all that other shit, the Kyoto brothers were going to work on this show, but I guess it was just like too much money. I saw like an impromptu convention video where they were sitting down talking to this guy who had the flattened critter from part 2.
That's cool.
So I thought that was really cool, and he like brought it and like, is this real? And he was like, those are real. But apparently they had several meetings with the director and the producers about it on the phone or something like that. And they shot the whole film apparently in Canada, and there was some talk about them shooting in LA, but they never did come down to LA, probably for money reasons. It makes more sense to make it up there than it would in LA because it's expensive as fuck. So, but they, the guy asked him about like some of the puppets, and they were like, kind of looks like it's too much of a puppet for me. And I could see that. Like, it does feel like it's a little too much of a puppet rather than a creature. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we all know that the critters look like puppets, okay? But we try not to accent them to the point where they're like living Muppets. You know what I mean? So I can understand, especially they're the fathers of the fucking critters anyway. So they're going to be a little particular. But they understood. They said, hey, budget's a budget. They probably could do more with the budget by filming up there than they could if they came down here. So it could have been worse, I guess. Plus, they're not cheap.
No.
Because they have standards for their shit, that they want to keep, and they do good work, honestly. Which, for those of you that are thinking they might be throwing shade, you can just cancel that shit right away. When it comes to the fathers of these fucking critters, I think they're allowed to have an opinion.
Yeah.
So, and they were being very nice about it, too. They weren't dicks. Also, Jordan, the director of this movie, writer and producer, he actually spoke about it too to Slash Film. I guess he had an interview with them, and he's saying, we spoke to them. I'm trying to make that work. I think that would be amazing. It's all a matter of budget, and if we can work out their schedule and where we shoot it. If we shoot in Canada, I'm trying to make that work because I met with them, and they're great, but we're speaking a couple different puppet houses. So, but apparently Jordan Rubin, it just couldn't work, and I understand. Budget's a budget.
Right.
So you want to make the best thing you can with as much as you can, you know what I mean? So also, Jordan Rubin apparently is the cousin of Bennett Miller, who directed films like Foxcatcher, Capote, and Moneyball. Huh. Also, I found out that Jordan Rubin is fond of the first movie in the entire franchise more, which is really weird because this particular series is not anything like the first one, you know what I mean? Because they were asking him, where does this take place? Is it before, after? And he says, well, it's kind of its own thing. He said, I really like the first one because it's kind of dark. And it's kind of this thing. He's like, I feel like later films started to have more fun and get a little more silly campy in a good way. But I like the darkness of the first one to me. Felt more like it went for it. I know people that still watch it and get scared by it. I don't get scared by that kind of thing. I'm laughing. This is just kind of weird, right? Because this is a silly,
right, teenage humor,
right? So I don't know. I don't know where. I don't know. I would think that if you're a fan of the first one, you would try to go for that.
Yeah.
But he is a silly. Those guys are silly writers. They're comedic writers. You know what I mean? So maybe they just went kind of wild with it when they first started it up, but. He also had an interview with Collider, and he said that the series came about because Warner Brothers Digital had reached out to him. He said there's a producer there named Peter Girardi, who I worked with years ago, and I was a writer on Crank Yankers, this Comedy Central Jimmy Kimmel prank call puppet show. And then I had gone on to become a director, and he'd gone on to Warner Brothers Animation and Warner Brothers Digital and Blue Ribbon Content. So he reached out because he knew that I directed Zombievers, and he was like, is this something that you might be interested in? And I said, yeah, for sure. And then my writing partners, John and Al, and I wrote a little outline pitch of what we wanted to do with the franchise in the series form, and they loved it. So we went from there. So, but that's pretty much all the trivia that I found interesting. Did you have any scenes though that you were actually pretty fond of, that stood out, maybe that caught your attention, or just any scenes in general that you want to point out?
I just so I really like when we first see the president.
Okay.
Because it was hilarious. And I watched that part with Mouse.
Okay.
So he comes on the screen and Mouse just starts fucking dying laughing. And obviously now I'm going to start dying laughing because it's like, he goes, oh, they put a little suit on it.
They put a little suit on it.
and then he's like, is that you, Kyle? Because that's from South Park.
Okay, yeah,
and they put a little suit on the little person. On it. Yeah.
Yeah, I do know. We were watching some South Park this weekend, actually.
South Park is life. I know. South Park's brilliant.
It is kind of weird that they did put a little suit on him, though.
It's
you know
so
what I mean?
cute. And he speaks English, and I'm like, this is weird. But he's funny. But he sounds like his voice is like being played out of a tape recorder that's like 20 feet away.
Right.
Like, it's so weird and muffled, and I don't understand it.
Christopher.
It was funny. But yeah, they put a little suit on it. Is that you, Kyle?
There was a part in the very beginning, because like it was kind of like making jokes towards vegans. Like they were like, well, critters are meat eaters, so it'd be kind of funny to throw a vegan in. I'm sure that's what they were thinking. But she's like the Christopher guy's doing like a hot dog eating competition. His buddy's trying to convince him to win like a $500 prize. But then at the end, it says 5,000. Yeah, did you catch that too?
What the fuck was that? I was so confused.
I was confused by that too.
I swear those motherfuckers said $500.
I know they did.
Why does that giant check say 5,000?
But he's like talking to this girl who's got this crush on, and he's like, you probably think that's gross because you don't eat meat. And she's like, no, I think it's cool. Don't tell anyone, but I still eat beef jerky on road trips. And I was like,
everyone eats beef jerky on road trips, bitch. Everyone.
I mean, it is hard, like, now that I'm doing the veggie thing just because I have to. But anyway, that was one that I thought was kind of funny. Do you have another one?
I think it's the last episode, actually, when they do the big critter ball.
Right.
And then they pay homage to...
Right. The bones.
The second one?
Yeah, it's the second one.
Yeah, when they roll over the cups, and then it's just like bones left. I was like, oh, that was cute. That was the only, like, one of the only things where I felt like it was
kind of within
like,
its vein,
mindful of the what the original, like the movies,
right,
and where it came from. You know what I mean? Like it kind of did here and there throughout, like a little bits of it where like ridiculous 80s type humor like went throughout the movie, but then it was just mostly a joke in my opinion.
Right.
But that part, I was like, oh.
Did you see the part where his mom, Christopher's mom, is getting banged on the couch, like pretty much like dry humping on the couch in front of him?
Yeah.
And it was like by this delivery guy who's named Holton. But like he's like talking to Christopher and she's like yelling at him and stuff. Like, don't you knock? He was like, I was already inside.
Yeah. I'm in the room.
I'm in the fucking room.
You're in the living room, bitch.
Yeah. And he's like, he like, the guy just like zips up his, he's like, oh, you seem cool, bro. And he zips up his zipper. And I'm like, there's something wrong about that.
The whole thing was weird. Like, all that exchange was strange. I didn't really quite understand. I did like when the mom was dying. That was pretty funny. I laughed at that.
Oh, yeah.
That was a pretty funny part. Like, that was one of the only things that I actually laughed at because I was like...
Well, the makeup effects was alright, too.
It was okay.
It was the best in the movie.
It's not great,
no,
but it's not bad. Like that, and then the guy trying to put his like severed hand on his stumpy arm was like, God damn it.
That was them trying to make a joke about Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah.
They did it in, what was that food movie?
I've seen that a bunch of times.
Seth Rogen did the fucking...
Oh my God, that movie is so
because they do the
funny.
Oreo and he's like trying to pick up his arm or something, or his leg. I'm pretty sure that's what they were doing.
What the fuck is that movie called? Oh my God. The movie's so funny,
I can't
too.
think of it.
I laughed so hard.
Yeah,
it's so disgusting.
It's pretty bad for its time.
It's so fucking disgusting, but it's hilarious. But yeah, I know. And you see that happen in a lot of different movies where they like make fun of that. And I'm like, nah. It just still made me laugh.
There was another part where the delivery guy that I thought was kind of funny too. The mom's like riding him in the living room again. Like this isn't. I'm not picking these as my favorite. These are just ones that stood out. Okay, I'll have some weird mom fetish. Okay, but the mom is riding the delivery guy, and the uncle has like a heart attack, and she's like, "Oh, what was that?" You know, and he's like, "Oh, babe, you're so hot when you hear things."
I totally missed that part.
That okay, I had a good laugh out about
That's funny.
that. Yeah, I was like, good Lord. But you see that Uncle Murray is dead and she screams, they're back. And all of a sudden he does like a barrel roll off the couch and then punches his fists into a package.
Pulls that gun out.
And pulls out the bounty hunter gun. I was like, what the fuck fuck is happening
was
right
funny.
now?
Okay,
Okay,
yeah.
granted, like it's not the best executed, but
Just all-
I was kind of caught off guard there. I'll put it that way.
Oh my god. One of the things that made me laugh too, which like I didn't like the scene or appreciate the scene whatsoever with like at the animal shelter.
Okay.
But it did make me laugh when the one cop like picked up the one dead dog and was like, I used to have a dog just like this, and it's like flops it back on the ground. I'm like, what the fuck?
I remember that.
But
Yeah,
I was like-
it didn't execute really well at all, but I feel like it could have been really funny.
It was kind of funny. Like I was just like,
It's just too over the top.
what the hell? Like, well, like, what made it so comical to me, like that whole scene, and made it easier to digest was the fact that it was so blatantly fake.
Right.
All of it, like
Yeah.
every single part in that was just so horribly bad. But I was like, that's fine. I appreciated that because I don't like dead animals.
Again,
so.
like I don't mind some of the humor in this, but does it fit for Critters? No.
No, and it doesn't.
It's like a 5 movie. If I didn't, it had nothing to do with Critters. It'd
If
probably
I
be
was
a 5.
high as fuck though, probably would be great. Like I would want to watch this movie. I'm gonna try and watch this again, super drunk or super high.
I don't know, dude. I don't know if I can do it. Like, it's just, I have too much of a connection to Critters. And we literally just went over the first movies.
Yeah.
Like, there is some funny stuff in it, but it's not like, I get what they're kind of going for. Like, they shoot for the fences, you know, like, they swing for the fences, and they're just, like, going all at it, just having fun. And I get it. I'm not like a fucking party pooper fucking, you know, but it just is something like Critters that has never gone that silly and has only gotten strikes against it for trying to be even half that silly. Why would you do that? I just, you know what I mean?
I'm with you. I understand where you're coming from.
So I don't know, but sorry, I don't mean to harp on it, guys. And I'm sure the directors might listen to this at some point and be like, "This guy's a fucking asshole."
I do recommend watching this if you've been drinking or if you're stoned. Then
Or
you might
if-
like
if
it.
you're
You
like-
might like it more.
15,
Or
and
if you're
you've
a
never heard
child.
of Critters.
Yeah, like teenagers will probably think it's great.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not trying to give it poor credits. I would probably still give it like a 4 or a 5 if
Yeah.
it was like just not a Critters film. Like if it was something else.
Yeah, I've seen like worse
Right.
movies that tried to be serious.
Now,
that were just terrible.
There was
But-
one. Did you see? I have a couple more spots that I want to bring up that I just thought, like, these are just kind of the scenes that stood out to us that I just kind of like, because I'll take notes while I'm watching the movie, guys. There was a couple cool scenes, like action wise. I guess there was like a bounty hunter fight scene where like the principals turned into the Holt guy bounty hunter. He turns into the principal and he's, you know, looks like the principal or whatever. But they like do have this weird action scene. But then they do this like nod to the Matrix, which I was like, come on, guys. That's a little too much. He had like a little leather jacket on, the critter. Like, I was like, really? Like, I'm sure the effect took a lot of work and they did some cool stuff in there, but I was just not overly impressed about it. The other part that I want to bring up, do you remember the part where Chris literally rolled? Okay, because it's like, the mind-blowing part in this whole fucking film is that you find out
Oh yeah, we have to mention that.
Christopher is part critter.
Yeah.
And he's got red fucking eyes and sharp fucking teeth.
Yeah.
And they kind of like explain it away really quick.
Yeah, his mom fucked a critter president.
Yeah, when she was drunk. She was like, I was really drunk, you know, thought it was the end of the world.
Yeah, it was a what did she fucking say?
End of the world party.
Yeah, it was a Y2K party. Birth control or condoms are so 80s or whatever the fuck she said. And I'm like,
Right.
oh my God.
And she doesn't really like go over it, but later on they revisit like how it happened. And it's kind of weird.
Oh, she's having a flashback to like their sex when they had sex. And
yeah.
I'm like, ew, why?
And he's all sticking his long tongue in her mouth.
Why is this necessary?
Right.
It's disgusting.
Apparently his mom got drunk on wine is what she said. That's what it was. But they flash back and I was like, ooh, what the fuck?
Yeah, no.
There was entirely too much sex for the mom in there.
Yeah.
It just felt really weird, but they were trying to make her out to be like the slut of the universe. You know what I mean? That she fucked a crate.
Well, you fucked all the guys on Earth, so you had a fucking alien?
And dude, he looks so fucking weird.
Ew, he's
like his
yeah.
eyes were beady red like the fucking critters are.
Yeah, he's wearing red sclera, like cat eye contacts.
Then they try to like turn it into this story about come back with your father because your mom doesn't really care about you, and she's kind of a bitch in the movie. But like he like I'm gonna go with dad, and then he's like, wait, you're gonna kill all my friends back home, and he's like, no. no, we have to save them, and they're coming with me, or something like that. And then they go back to Earth, and the father helps fight off the bounty hunters. So they're like fighting the bounty hunters all of a sudden because the bounty hunters want to kill him.
The bounty hunters like threaten to kill his friends
because he's going to be some god back on the critter planet.
Yeah, whatever it is.
The Krites. But anyway, Chris literally rolls like a fucking critter.
So stupid.
With a t-shirt and pants, like rolled up like a ball into the hot dog eating contest. And it's like all pink flesh and ginger.
Or his shirt's suddenly really short and he's wearing a tie.
Yeah, that was really weird,
and
too.
A cape or something. And I'm like, I don't know. What is happening?
Yeah, he lifts his cape and to reveal the hairy patch on his back. And his back shoots a fucking dart in one of the bounty hunters. I was like, ew, ew.
Oh, I did have one scene that I did actually like a lot and I laughed at too, was when they find the red one and they're like, what do the red ones do?
Yeah.
And the red one shoots the quill thing at the dude and his head explodes.
That's right, yeah.
I was like, that's where the budget went.
Right, yeah.
One head explosion. That's all you get on low budget movies when you try and do a head explosion. You get one, and that was it. It was hilarious. I love when people's heads explode. And I like the red critter. It was cute.
Yeah, Chris even gets stabbed by one of the bounty hunters pretending to be his love interest, the chick.
Oh, yeah, straight up right in the fucking kidney.
Yeah,
too.
I was like, well, right
damn.
in the gut.
I was like, right here.
His blubber.
Yeah, probably right in front of the kidney.
Yeah, it was like right there. But I don't know.
But still, fucking ow.
He chews their head off when he finds out.
I forgot about that.
And it's like really bad CGI of his head just like growing to abnormal size over the top of the head and then coming back. And I was like,
totally forgot about that part. So dumb.
Like, guys, like I mentioned, there's some funny things. There's some things in it that you're like, okay, this pushes me through the story. It's not a boring film. It's not, like I said, it's just not respectful, and it doesn't feel like a Critters film.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to put it into nicer terms, it just doesn't feel like a Critters film at all. Like, it's like a spoof of Critters, literally.
Right, that's what it feels more like.
It felt like, and the humor felt like that of, like, Scary Movie 4 or 5.
Yeah,
when they started getting really bad.
End. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you might laugh, but then they throw so many jokes in that you just, like, get desensitized a little bit towards the whole fucking thing.
Yep.
There's, like, no pacing, no cadence, no... Because comedy, horror, they both have to have that fucking element of, like, cadence. And, like, timing is pretty much everything. And sometimes, yeah, there was some funny stuff in there I thought was funny, but, yeah, so... But that's it. Do you have anything else to add to it?
I don't.
Like I said, like they talked. It was a big deal in the Critters films when they even spoke because they didn't speak all the time.
Right.
But in this movie, they speak
constantly
all the time. And there's this running gag about fucking, oh, they can't eat, but they keep eating. I mean, that's cute, I guess. But I don't know. There's something just felt really off about it. But... So what do you guys think? Do you enjoy this movie? Did you like it? Were you offended by it? Was I an asshole? I mean, you can just sound off in the comments below.
I'm an asshole.
I'll take the fucking heat. I can't lie. I'm not gonna lie. I could have been nicer about it probably, but I don't know. Like, I'm a little offended because I am a fan. So you get it. I've said it like 17 times now.
We get it.
I get it.
You're
yes.
a fan.
I'm sorry. Yeah, my childhood does not forgive you, but maybe I will. Okay? You may shit on my childhood, and maybe one day I'll forgive you for fucking ruining it, but...
Maybe one day.
I'm just kidding. One day. I'll have some weird fetish with bad movies now, like that upset my childhood, Got to masturbate only to the ones that ruined my childhood.
That is it.
Anyway,
only to Critters, a new binge.
Yeah, I know that we have bad taste in our humor, but it still means we have some layer of cheese levels here.
Yeah, I have boundaries. Okay.
Don't touch! Where's the Tylenol? Anyway, so there is another movie that we're going to be talking about now, and that is Hobgoblins. So why don't you go ahead and jump off into that, Brittany?
Hobgoblins came out in 1988.
Boom.
It's about a young security guard who has to track down diminutive aliens who kill people even as they make their fantasies come true.
not.
It's like on paper, this movie sounds kind of cool, but
Right.
it's not.
It's like Gremlins and Freddy Krueger sounding.
It's not cool. Yeah, it's just all right. It's directed, written, and produced by Rick Sloan, who's done Blood Theater, Vice Academy 1 through 6, The Visitants, Good Girls Don't, and Hobgoblins number 2. It stars Tom Bartlett, who plays Kevin. This is his only credit.
Mm-hmm.
Paige Sullivan, who plays Amy. This is her only credit. Stephen Boggs, who plays Kyle. This is his only credit. Kelly Palmer, who plays Daphne. She was in The Visitants and another movie called Prophecy to Laos. It also has Billy Frank, who plays Nick, who is in Vampire Nights, Grotesque, Dead End City, Nudity Required, and Dwayne Whitaker, who plays Road Rash,
Right.
who is in...
I recognize him.
Me too. He's in Pulp Fiction, Feast, Halloween 2, Rob Zombie's version, Murder, She Wrote. Yay.
Oh, yeah, he was in Feast. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to remember who he was. I think he was just one of the bar people.
Yeah, I don't think he was a major character. Tales from the Hood, From Dusk Till Dawn 2, The Devil's Rejects, and he's going to be in the upcoming film 3 from Hell.
Oh, okay.
And like 4 other things that are in like pre and post production right now.
Yeah, he's got a familiar face, so.
Also has Tamara Clatterbuck. Sorry, Tamara Clatterbuck, who plays Fantasia. She's in mostly a TV actress, actually. She's in a shit ton of episodes of Days of Our Lives, The Young and the Restless. She's in a few Criminal Minds episodes and CSI the original.
She seemed kind of fun. You know, by the end of the movie, they have that little cute part with her that made me kind of go, oh.
Last but not least, it has Darren Norris, who plays the Club Scum MC. He is primarily a voice actor. He did voices for Transformers, Robots in Disguise. He was Heavy Load. He was a lifeguard and a character named Monty in the Powerpuff Girls. He was Spotswood in Team America. Fuck yeah.
Spotswood, really?
Spotswood,
Okay. I need you to go ahead and suck my cock. Or something like that.
Gross.
I'm just kidding.
He was Kiadi Mundi, Warrior number 3, Dirge, and a couple other characters in Star Wars Clone Wars. He's in The Marvelous Misadventures of Flapjack, playing Doc Hag, Dashing Danny, and other characters.
Okay.
He also is the voice of Cosmo, Dad, and Jurgen from The Fairly Odd Parents, which I was obsessed with as a kid.
Interesting.
And he was Jack Smith on American Dad.
Okay.
And a metric fuck ton of other things.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, so primarily voice actor. He's done some movies, but not a whole lot.
I heard this movie was also shot on a $15,000 budget.
$15,000 budget, shot in 1 week.
Yeah, crazy.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah, that's cheap.
that is cheap.
Even for
But-
1988.
It looks, I don't know, maybe like it looks like a little more expensive than it was.
You would
I
think.
guess. Yeah, especially from all the fake flash bomb grenades. But,
Right.
You know, that's to be talked about.
Another thing to point out is this is like this band, the Fontanelles.
Oh yeah, I missed it. I forgot to look them up.
They were like the big,
I meant to do that.
they were the big band in the movie, and one of their songs is in it. I'll talk about that in the trivia. I did some trivia on that, so don't worry.
What were your thoughts on this movie, though?
Well, it's hard to kind of really explain this movie because it's not a great film, and it definitely shares a lot in common with like Critters and New Binge and some of the humor department, I think.
Yes, agreed.
Because it's not exactly funny, but you know, I don't know how to explain it. It's just very similar. Hobgoblins is technically supposed to be a Gremlins ripoff, although I wouldn't really even claim that. I don't see any difference other than their ears, because they're these furry little fucking creatures with like ears that are similar to the fucked up darker Gremlins version, you know, not the fucking furry funny nice ones.
Not Gizmo.
Yeah, the green ones. Anyway, but it's sort of a, you know, hey guys, let's throw this movie together kind of film, you know, sort of the so bad it's weird side of bad. You know what I mean? Because it's not exactly like so bad it's good, even though there is some parts that you could probably, you know, sit and watch and laugh with. But I did laugh a little bit at how silly and stupid it was. Like, I know that Mystery Science Theater did a thing on this as well, because I've seen it in the fucking, in the list.
Yeah.
And it's the one that some people talk about a lot. But it ain't all that bad. It has a few decent ideas that are thrown together pretty cheaply and kind of funny. I laughed, you know, quite a few times, I would say, out loud at it, probably, but it is just kind of ridiculous. So for some, I definitely think it could be a so bad it's good. For me, it was just kind of weird for me. The acting is obviously intentionally over the top and done in a way that's certainly not realistic in any form. Just sort of a pizza and beer style movie that you don't need to necessarily pay 100% attention to. But, if you do, there's some silly little things in there that you might miss if you didn't. The puppets aren't really even puppets so much. Their mouths don't move. Maybe their arms do a little bit. I don't remember. And it felt like there were furry dolls that someone just sort of held up.
I think only one moves.
Might be.
Only one, like, mouth moves or something like that.
I didn't remember any of them.
Really stiff.
Yes. It's like I said, it just feels like a doll that somebody was holding up.
Yeah, I know.
There was, like, literally one part in the movie where I was cracking up because of how bad it was. Like, I was just laughing so hard because they tried to make it look like it was running on the top of a bar.
Oh.
And it was just so bad. I just started cracking up. There's a lot of fuck ups in the movie too that you can tell, like, certain things, which makes it kind of funnier in some way. But it's not one of my favorite so bad it's good movies by any means, but some people definitely regard it highly for that. Quite a few of my friends have said, hey, you need to watch this and check out the sequel, because I think it's Gimp.
Which came out in 2009.
Gimp was the one that told me it's like one of their movies that they like to watch together, that to like laugh at, and they had a really good time with in 2009.
Yeah.
The second one
I
in
can
particular.
see that.
But, it's definitely one of those movies you could watch with a group of people. So maybe that's the key to enjoy this film, is to either watch the Mystery Science Theater version or watch it with your friends and make fun of it. Like, if you're by yourself, I would highly recommend the Mystery Science Theater one.
Or Elvira.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, she did do the one too. But I didn't see that one. I have seen the one.
Yeah, that was on Prime too, the Elvira one. I almost watched that.
Is it really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Is that the one where she just pops up in it, like, out of the blue?
Yeah.
I mean,
shakes her tits.
Yeah, it's not horrible sit by itself, but I think it'd be better off if you watched one of those or like with your friends. So, but I'm not going to watch it anytime soon. It's not something I'm actively going to be like, oh, I got to watch this. But it's not bad for someone looking for stupid fun. So, what about you though?
I won't ever watch it again.
Yeah,
unless I have to. But I don't foresee myself having to watch it again.
Like, if it's on and your friends, like, you're laughing at it, then you're like, okay, yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
like,
but I mean, I've seen it. I can say I've seen it. That's cool, I guess. It's
been 5 weeks since the time. Oh, sorry.
It's been 1 week since we looked at
whatever. I don't
know. God damn it. Dude's ruined. Yeah, I don't know. It's a movie. It's not great, guys. Don't expect anything amazing from this, but I mean, I don't. It's called Hobgoblins. Obviously, it's probably going to be terrible.
It's a little creature film,
Yeah, it is not the best of the little creature films.
It's a comedy.
It's definitely a comedy. There's parts of it. A lot of the comedy missed for me. It didn't stick. It wasn't funny. It was just like forced.
Yeah, it's kind of sleazy a little bit.
It's very sleazy. This is a very, very sleazy movie.
So was Critters, though. I think that's the link.
But I don't know. I mean, it was enjoyable-ish enough.
Okay.
There's a lot that was unnecessarily long and not needed for this movie, I feel like, is most of it. 'Cause there's not a lot of time you spend with the actual creatures.
But there is a few parts that are really good, though.
There's parts that are
like that made me laugh, like heartily.
Yeah, there's some parts that made me laugh or giggle or whatever. I didn't really wholeheartedly laugh at anything. I was just kind of like,
I know that if I laugh out loud by myself, then that's some funny shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like when you need to laugh by being next to somebody, it almost makes you want to laugh more. So I always judge it. If I laugh out loud by myself, then I know.
Then it's actually funny.
Then there's actually something funny in there.
Yeah, I feel the same way because it takes a lot.
Right.
If I watch stuff with Mouse, he laughs at everything, so I'm always laughing.
Right, exactly.
And it's fun.
It's so much more fun.
It's more fun to watch stuff with him versus me having to watch shit by myself. But
right.
Yeah, if I can laugh at something alone, then I'm like, that's funny.
I didn't roll my eyes at this one either. Versus the Critters.
I did, but
did you?
I was just kind of like, this is so dumb.
I think I give it a pass because it's so old.
And this is definitely one of those it's one of those movies that is just on the list of one of the worst films ever made and has been since it came out.
Right.
It's like climbing, I'm pretty sure.
I think the director knows it and is fine with it too.
He absolutely knows it.
Yeah.
They've brought it up to him in multiple interviews, like when he was getting ready to release the second part.
Right.
And he was actually sad that it had jumped a couple of spaces up, like on the list of top 25 like worst movies or whatever. It was at like, I don't know, number 5 or something, and he was upset that it wasn't like closer to number 1.
Right.
Or whatever, which was funny. But I mean, he's very self-aware of this film. Like, he knows he didn't make a fucking masterpiece, but
right.
But
he did it.
He did, and he's continued to have a fucking career on, ever since then, and he's gone on to make other movies.
Right.
So, and then he made the sequel in 2009. Like,
yeah,
there's that.
To no acclaim, really. Like, nobody really cared about Hobgoblins that much to begin with, let alone.
Yeah, but I mean, it has a pretty decent cult following.
I definitely want to watch it again with you guys so that you guys can kind of get our opinion on it, because I think we need to at some point. And even Brittany was like, should we watch that?
I kind of wanted to watch the second one instead of Critters,
but I was like, I want to try to do the new thing and then the old thing, you know what I mean? Each time if I can.
Yeah.
So
it seems to work a little bit better.
Yeah. What would you say?
And then I'm not as pissed at you for making me watch 2 old shitty movies at the same time.
Well, since I didn't tell you what I thought of, like, score-wise, this is just nominally better than, like, Critters: A New Binge. So, like, it's like a 3, probably, like, firm. Like, it's not a movie that I'm going to, like, watch again, but I can tolerate it enough. And I had a few laughs in it, you know what I mean? It is a bad movie. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
It's
but
like a 3.5.
Yeah. I don't know. It's probably like a 3. Yeah, for me.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that's fair.
It's like, it's not fucking...
I'm not going to shit on this movie
Howling
entirely,
4 or 7.
Nothing is as bad.
I gave that 7 like a fucking 1 or something like that. 1 or 2.
Was it I give it a negative?
Yeah.
Oh my God, what was that thing you said that one time? It was so funny.
Oh, 2 middle fingers?
I give it a negative fuck or whatever, negative fucks or something like that.
Oh.
What was that? Do you remember what it was?
I don't remember. Yeah,
so
but
funny.
I know what you're talking about. I award you no points and may God have mercy on your soul.
May God have mercy on your soul. We are all now dumber for having listened to that.
It's one of the best quotes ever.
God damn it.
By the way, so here's the question. Would you watch this over Critters: A New Binge?
If I had to watch one over the other, I would get a lot of alcohol or a lot of weed and then watch Critters: A New Binge. I'd have more fun with that.
Okay, so
just me personally speaking.
No, yeah, that's fine.
I'd have more fun watching that.
Well, you're not a like huge fan of the Critters franchise, so
by alcohol or drugs.
Okay,
I would much rather watch Critters: A New Binge over this again because I had more that.
It's not as boring, I guess.
It's not as boring. Time flew by with Critters versus this. It felt like it took 2 fucking hours when it wasn't even an hour and a half long, and I was like, why is this taking so long?
So I think I'm just more...
Why do I have to listen to an entire song by the shit band? I don't understand what's happening.
It fucked with my emotions, so I get it. So because of it being more current, because of it being a fan thing, it definitely has an impact on it, but... Yeah, I mean, I think I would probably watch Hobgoblin before I would, mostly because I'm sure Gimp would want to watch it or something like that, or she'd bring it up and I'd be like, okay, I could watch this and like laugh at it because I'm just an 80s fan. You know?
I mean, I'd watch it with a bunch of people. They played
they're very
somewhere.
close in score. Like, I would definitely say that if it wasn't for the Critters thing, the Critters: A New Binge definitely flows faster. You can pay attention a lot more than how close of attention I had to pay with Hobgoblin. But there are some funny shit in it, and we're going to go over that eventually. But
yeah, I have like one scene in particular that I just loved.
Okay.
'Cause it was so dumb.
Yeah, the one was was at the very end that I loved.
Yeah.
That one was like fucking great, but we'll get into that. We're not going to spoil it just yet, guys. So did you have some trivia on this?
So interestingly enough, because this is considered to be this like rip-off of Gremlins.
Yeah.
Rick Sloan claims that he wrote the first draft of the script for this movie before Gremlins.
Yeah, I heard that too. Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
Everybody says that.
Everybody says that, but like, can you fucking prove it? Probably not. So
Well,
don't say it.
We heard that with the critters too.
I mean, it's fine. Like,
So it's like there's some connections there, like the critters thing.
yeah, Critter says that they
said the same
before
thing.
Gremlins too, but
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, but you didn't come out first, so I mean,
Yeah.
whatever.
It was on the verge of everybody's fucking creative tongue.
Yeah, it's
So
fine.
It was on the tip. Just the tip.
Just a tip, just to see how it felt. Whatever. So the part of the Club Scum MC, which was played by Darren Norris, was actually originally a much smaller part than
Right.
what he ended up having.
But he was so good.
But Rick Sloan was so impressed by his reading because Norris did it in a number of different cartoon voices. So he actually wrote more scenes for that character in particular. And this was actually Darren Norris's first feature film.
I'll be honest, like I think he was probably one of the better actors other than the Dwayne guy.
Yeah, he was fine,
Yeah.
actually, for that
He was
part.
creepy, but yeah, fine.
He was creepy. The role of Fantasia was actually first considered and offered to Angeline and Sybil Danning.
Oh, okay. Well, Sybil Danning was in My Sister's a Werewolf Part 2, remember?
Mm-hmm. Angeline,
Howlington.
however, Angeline refused to memorize dialogue and she only wanted to play herself. And then Sybil, they couldn't afford her.
Right.
So, which, I mean, it's a $15,000 budget. Sybil Danning, I mean, at that time, I think she was pretty big.
Yeah.
Ish. Or like budding.
Well,
star.
she kind of reminded me of Linnea Quigley a little bit.
Okay.
She's been in a ton of horror movies. But yeah, it just kind of gave me that vibe, I guess.
That makes sense. Also, piggybacking off of the issues with the low budget, I guess Tamara Clatterbuck had to pee behind a bush at one point because had to pee behind bushes because there was no money in the budget for a porta potty
Wow.
at the location for like Reputation Road or whatever. And I mean, obviously, they clearly like hand wrote signs for Reputation Road.
Well, it said go all the way.
Go all the way.
Yeah.
Like all that shit. I was like, Jesus, this is ridiculous. The location that they used for Club Scum was actually a club in West Los Angeles, which was called the Music Machine.
Oh, okay.
And the studio parking lot location was next to a crack house.
Nice.
That's cool.
It's apropos.
Probably could have found some really great extras from there. And maybe that's where the club goers came from.
Right.
Who knows? In an interview with Foy Wonder from Dread Central, Foy asked Rick Sloan, if you ever fell victim to one of your own hobgoblins, goblins, what would be your fantasy fulfillment and how would you anticipate the hobgoblins to eliminate you? Rick's answer was, I'd want to make a big budget film and then it would be a terrible flop.
That sounds... see, I can appreciate that.
I was like, okay, that's self-aware.
That is very self-aware, like too self-aware.
The other question that he asked, which I was fucking dying over this, because this is actually, I have two scenes that I love, and this is one of them that was just so terrible. Foy Wonder asked him, so, what's the secret to choreographing a kick-ass garden tool fight? And I knew you would appreciate this
oh
so
my
much.
God, yes.
So Rick's
That's
answer
so great.
is, I've never admitted this because it is so incredibly embarrassing, but Hobgoblins was my last film to still have film school influences. One common film school technique that everyone used is trying to imitate a scene from a big budget film and being clueless that you can't even come close when you have no money. I was a big fan of Streets of Fire in the 80s, and the finale is a lengthy fight between the two leads using pickaxes.
Oh, God.
I figured I could capture the same tension, but it wound up being the worst scene I've ever done in any movie. Watch the ending of Streets of Fire if you want to roll on the floor of what I thought I could mimic with a rake and a hoe.
Oh, my God. Okay, guys, I'll try to do my best to find the axe fighting scene at the end of Streets of Fire
'em.
for you guys so that we can post it.
Holy shit.
In the group of Do You Love Horror or on our pages or whatever, just because I gotta see this now.
And like, Foy Wonder, that's the greatest question ever.
Yeah,
like,
that is pretty good stuff right there.
Oh, I laughed so fucking hard.
It's like he's like aware that it's a terrible movie. That's why.
What goes into choreographing a garden tool fight scene? Oh, Jesus.
It's funny. One of the things that I found while doing a little bit of research now, we mentioned that the MST3K did do his movie Hobgoblin. There's a lot of misconception apparently that the writer-director Rick Sloan personally suggested the movie to Best Brains Incorporated, which is the people that owned MST3K, and to give it the treatment, and Sloan had said that he had sent another one of his movies, The Vistance, to them, which they rejected because it was too intentionally cheesy. And they asked them, what else did you have available? So he sent them Hobgoblins. That's apparently how it went down. A lot of people think that he sent Hobgoblins first, and that's how it was. But no, it definitely was that way.
The opposite.
Yeah, The Vistance was the first one that he sent.
Did I say it wrong? I thought it was The Visitants. Maybe I'm retarded. Who knows?
Oh, you're right. The Visitants. I don't know why I said it that way.
Excuse me. My bad.
You're right. I don't know why I said it that way. But also, in the movie, they have the Fontanelles. The Fontanelles. They hail from Doncaster, South Yorkshire, England, apparently, and the song that they used in the film is called Kiss Kicker 99, which they literally stopped the entire movie to showcase this, which I respect in a way because, to be honest, I kind of like punk music.
I thought he was saying piss.
What? Kiss.
I know, but I thought he was saying piss kicker or something
Piss
like that.
kicker.
Like, what is happening? It's
Well,
song.
everybody's like, doesn't know what he's saying.
Yeah.
So, like, I was like, when I was looking it up, there's like a whole Reddit thread about it, and they're like, pig sticker, like anything that sounded like kiss kicker.
Yeah.
They were like going, because Reddit does that. They'll like,
Oh yeah,
go down the
I
thing.
love that shit. I love that shit.
And
It's
I'm
just
like, where are these fucking hardcore fans that, know this shit when we fucking do these reviews and shit? Because it's like, I just like, where is this lost group of people that I've never heard
lost
of?
Group of people.
You know what I mean? Like, where are they? Anyway.
Where are you?
But I thought it was interesting. One of the guys on the Reddit thread said that they never got any national exposure other than this movie, but they came to Los Angeles, I guess, or Burbank or whatever to film this, or they were out there touring or something.
That was in their budget?
Right. They
couldn't get a porta potty?
I don't even know. Like, they have an album. I looked it up on Discogs, and it was like 3 songs. So, I don't know, it was just an EP, I guess.
That's fun. Punk songs, so 3 2-minute songs.
Right. So I don't know, but I thought it was
6-minute
interesting.
album. Woo.
So let's go over some of our scenes. I have a pretty decent list here that's just stuff that I wrote it just as I was watching the movie that I thought was funny. First of all, we got to talk about this. So the old man security guard in the movie that starts off the movie, doesn't he seem kind of like a crotchety Mr. Rogers?
Yeah.
Like what he's wearing and everything. Like for whatever reason, all I kept thinking is like, if Mr. Rogers was pissed off, this is him, right?
Be this guy.
To be this guy. Also, the hornball girl, I think her name is Deborah or some shit. What was her name?
Daphne.
Daphne, that's what it is. She looks like Jessie from Saved by the Bell.
She kind of does, yeah.
Like in some moments. Like almost wears the same fucking thing. Because there was that early 90s thing or late 80s where people would wear that kind of like neon shit.
Bright ass leggings.
Right. You know what I mean? Like, and it wasn't just an 80s thing like that. They did that in the 90s too. Yeah. So
jean skirts, acid washed jean skirts. Ew.
I mean, there was some other stuff in the 90s too, but now there was another scene in here that I want to talk about that I thought was like really fucking like, what? Like, who wrote this, like, kind of thing. And so, like, there's, like, this group of friends, guys, for those of you who haven't seen this movie and are just listening anyway because it's an old film, there's this group of friends who, okay, because essentially the movie starts off with an old security guard who is training a younger security guard. That guy gets killed. Then a new guy comes in. That new guy has a group of, like, 4 friends that, or 3 friends that all, is it 3 or 4?
3, and then the...
Oh, no, it's 4.
It's 3 friends.
Because
and then
the military guy,
that's
the
her
2
boyfriend,
chicks.
though. That's not his friend.
Right.
He has 3 friends, and then it's her boyfriend.
The friends, whatever. I just say friends. But anyway, there's 4 people that he hangs out with in this movie, and fucking one of his friends, like, is at his house, and they're like having this stupid conversation, this dick swinging conversation about like he's trying to get his girlfriend's attention, I guess, because she's like kind of all over the military guy. And so the other guy's like, after this awkward moment, is like, hey, can I make a phone call real quick? And then he like walks into the other room, calls a 900 number to fucking Fantasia, And at his friend's house, I was like, dude, what the
What a
fuck?
dick.
Yeah, like, Jesus.
You know how much that shit costs?
And they even address it later. He's like, hey, you know, I got to be careful because somebody just like, I'm getting charged with all these fucking 900 numbers right. He's like, oh, that's terrible. And he tries to call again.
Well, that's terrible.
The first big thing that stood out to me other than that was the whole combat training with the hose out front.
That was my, so good.
And yes, I actually mean garden hose, not the other kind. But they play a cheap instrument sound over every time that this fucking they hit, and they literally are fighting and hitting each other like, I don't know, like 40 times.
It's so annoying.
Gank, gank, gank. And the music's like military drums. Dun, 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 dun. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, but it was hilariously bad.
And then it like it is really bad too. Like
Yeah.
and the main guy who's like, I think his name is Kevin. Is that the main actor?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, Kevin is like fighting this military guy who's obviously going to know combat training better than him. He's fighting him to show that his girlfriend that he's kind of a good, you know, man. And she comes over to him after they're done fighting, and then she's like, "You humiliated me." I was like, "Bitch, what
know.
the fuck?" Like, who the fuck?
She's like, what did you expect?
Do you know what's humiliating is being around a garden hoe fight, okay? That's humiliating.
Everyone's humiliated.
Yeah,
in this
everyone's
situation.
humiliated right now.
Everyone.
They're
I know,
not
she's
even
like,
making a garden.
I just want you to make me proud. And I'm like, really?
I know, that's
You're going to be proud of him for winning in a fight with a garden hoe and a rake? What the fuck is wrong with you?
I think they were both hoes.
Crackhead? So stupid.
It was
That's
pretty
where they
bad.
got. She's crackhead. That's where she came from. She came from the crack house. Good lord.
And then they kind of like go back to the fucking, because there's the security guard is guarding this old film place, this old film studio that nobody uses anymore, and all they're doing is like keeping all the old films in this like fucking bank vault, which apparently, literally, it is a bank vault from a bank,
From an actual bank, yeah.
yeah, and so. In the bank, though, is apparently these hobgoblin creatures. There's like 4 of them. And they fucking get out while he's like in there because I don't remember exactly. Oh, some guy breaks into the place. And then he goes back into this room. They get out. These hobgoblins now, like she said, can control people's minds or tap into their minds is what they keep saying in the
Fantasies,
movie.
yeah.
And then get into their fantasies and like create them physically, you know, before them. But the hobgoblins like get out and they go directly to this guy's house for some reason.
Yeah,
just
I'm
out
like,
of
how do
all
you
the
know where he
houses.
lives?
Yeah.
I did like them driving away on the golf cart, though. That was pretty funny.
It was, well, yeah, because one of them's wearing sunglasses
They're
or
just like,
something
"Wee-oo,"
stupid.
and I'm like, oh my god. Like, they're just so cute.
But the hobgoblins, they fight the friends in the most ridiculous way. Like the Daphne chick goes outside and she's like literally wrestling a doll.
Yeah.
Like, if you guys can imagine just rolling around on the ground with a doll in the very Ed Wood-esque way. Because, like, I feel like this director is very similar to Ed Wood in the just do it kind of.
Just do it.
You know what I mean? Like,
Go with it.
yeah, just go with it. Like, when he was, like, wrestling the fucking octopus, he's like, just wave your arms around or whatever. It's so bad, dude. Like, and it's really. I mean, they made it work, but it just, I don't think the camera's supposed to move around a lot now. They like know how to cover that kind of stuff up now because they make the shaky cam sort of thing going on. But there, it's just like
A straight shot.
a straight shot, you know, but I don't know. I think it's funny. So I like the fact that they can like turn anybody's fantasies into reality.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of a nice edge. If they had extra money, it would be even cooler. It kind of reminds me of like Evil Bong.
Evil Bong, yeah.
It reminds me of that because they take a hit off the pipe and they go into this fucking dream world, you know, where they can be killed, kind of like Freddy and Ray.
Yeah.
So,
I haven't seen Evil Bong in a long time.
yeah, it's not a bad one.
No, it's fine. It's funny.
Some of them are okay. Some are really bad. Mm-hmm. And there's like a lot. They like have.
There's a lot of them, yeah.
There's like verses now. There's like Bong Man or Evil Bong versus
Getting
like
out of control.
it's like Evil Bong 777 like 666 and shit like that. I'm like, Jesus Christ, I can't keep up.
Evil Bong, taco.
Yeah.
Stop. Too many.
One of the other scenes that I always think is really funny too is the chronic sex phone caller finally gets his fantasy of the woman on the other end. like he calls her, but then like she's like, hang up, you dildo, I'm outside, you know, like
Stop wasting your money.
Yeah, stop wasting your money and come outside and really join me. And so they're like, she convinced him to get in the car, and he's driving to Reputation Lane.
Reputation Road.
Reputation Road, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Basically his lookout point.
Yeah.
And
I thought Reputation Road was pretty great.
I don't even understand it.
It's a hilarious name.
Oh.
It's where you go to get your slutty reputation.
Oh, got it. I'm an idiot. I just don't understand sex, guys. I'm sorry.
Guess, virgin?
It's been a while. I'm not a virgin. Fuck you. I have 7 children, okay? Just kidding, no. If I do, I don't know about them.
Exactly 7.
But anyway, so they go to this lookout point sort of place to fuck, and you can see them, you know, driving at night, and you can see a hand in the frame. And this is like not even on the Blu-ray. Like I watched it on the Amazon Prime where you can watch this.
Yeah.
But you could see the hand like pushing the car to make it look like it was like driving on the road. And I just thought it was really funny. It just like kind of makes sense. It's like, oh, okay, well, yeah.
Fuck it.
I don't know. But she tries to basically convince him to wait in the car while she pushes the car. And then his friend comes and like finds the hobgoblin and hits it or something like that and knocks it out. And then she disappears. But then the car, as his friend gets out, the car rolls off by itself down a hill.
Yeah.
And explodes in this huge thing. That has to be like some sort of like fucking stock footage.
I think so.
You know what I mean? Like somebody had it just laying around and they just found like a similar like car to push out of frame.
Yeah. Because that's how I felt about it.
Right. It just blows the fuck up. I thought that was funny. So they come to one of their friends, Amy, is getting hit on by the military guy. And he's like, I have a vision of the number 3. And they all kind of get turned off by it. They're like, yeah, whatever. And so she looks at this newspaper and goes to Club Scum. And she has this fantasy. So the hobgoblins make her go to the Club Scum, which she would never go to because she dresses literally like a fucking librarian. Like, it just looks ridiculous. But she goes to this club. They overheard her talking about going to Club Scum. So they go. Daphne slips them in, even though they're in high school. And they look like college kids, by the way. Like, in their 20s. Mm-hmm. But they get into this bar, and the guy who's like introducing and welcoming everybody, the one that you were talking about that does all the voices or whatever, he's like one of the guys that works there. He's saying to the girl, sorry, the donkey mud wrestling performers must enter in the rear. And then you hear a guitar like bring. I was like, what?
It's not even funny.
But
the guitar thing was like, nah. Cute.
Like, really? You just made that joke? Like, oh my God. Anyway, so there's another part where you were talking about in this scene.
So the military guy apparently has a fantasy of blowing up a fucking place with grenades. I don't understand where this came from.
Probably Rambo.
But yeah, it's a Rambo fantasy. It's exactly what it is because it made me think of Rambo.
Right.
So his commander or lieutenant or I don't understand how the military works, obviously.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Like an asshole.
General, commander.
General, lieutenant, commander, fucking his boss.
Yeah. His lawyer.
His lawyer shows up and basically like tells him that he knows what he has to do and he has to save the club or whatever the fuck is going on.
But he's like chucking these grenades everywhere.
Yeah, but he all of a sudden turns into like Rambo. He puts like a fucking bandana on his head and then like puts the bullets around his chest. Yeah. And he's like, I'm pretty sure the sleeves came off of his shirt. I don't really know what else happened with that. And then all of a sudden he has grenades, right? But they're like little flashbang like magicians use or something.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
It's so weird, but it's so funny, and it just goes on for forever, and he's throwing grenades in random places, and people are jumping too late from when they blow up, which is hilarious. So it like blows up, and then someone 20 feet away jumps in the air.
Oh yeah, one of the
Oh my god, it's so funny.
Well, because Daphne, his girlfriend, is like, hey, can you make him stop blowing shit up? He's got grenades. That seems like he's like, no, he's fighting for the military. You know who you should be a part of?
Yeah, this
is what is it called? What do they call it?
USO or
the
whatever.
USO, so you can entertain. And then he even goes as far to say, yeah, we got a truckload of fucking military guys out in the car. You can probably finish them off by tomorrow morning. And she's like, excuse me? She's like, okay, I'll do it. And then
he says that, and then she's like, what?
Yeah, she's like, what?
Yeah, that whole exchange was strange, too.
Oh, that's right. You're right. She says that before.
And then she blows him up, and it's great.
Yeah, but he's like 50 feet away from the fucking explosion, so it doesn't even look like it hit him.
Well, she puts the grenade down his shirt, like in his jacket or whatever, and then he I think he explodes off camera.
Well, you see a pair of
his
shoes next to the fucking hobgoblins.
His boots are next to two hobgoblins that I didn't even realize were there.
Yeah, like she blew them up too.
Blew up. Yeah, I'm like, okay then, that was still funny. The motherfucker. He tells him to. That part too. When he tells him to
jump on a grenade.
Jump on the grenade, and he does, and he's on. This motherfucker is on fire for 5 fucking minutes, fully engulfed in flames. For 5 minutes, screaming and running around, and then a little bit later, he comes outside and he's like fine and has a couple of not even burn marks, it just looks like a road rash on his arms. With some shitty fucking gauze wrapped around it.
Yeah, and then some funny shit, dude.
And then she's all van, and they both say van at the same time. Then they go fuck in the van, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, well, it's
5 minutes.
It's
fully
just one
engulfed
of those
in flames.
Yeah.
How are your clothes still attached? I don't understand any of this. This doesn't make any sense.
Well, clearly it wasn't him.
Oh my god, it was so funny.
And it looks funny because when he dove on the grenade, you can tell it kind of hurt.
Yeah, I'm like
he landed on
large rock.
Yeah, on his sternum or something.
Yeah,
and he was like, oh god, oh, and they cut it right away.
Oh my god. That was so funny.
That is really funny.
5 minutes running around screaming, fully engulfed in flames, and then 10 minutes later, I'm fine. No big deal.
To wrap this up, though, there is one scene that's got a little bit of a lengthy tale to it, and I'll explain it. So they think they've killed all the hobgoblins, so they all, as a group, go back in their van to the film studio where he works as a security guard to go back and tell him that everything's okay, I guess. But they fucking are right behind them in the van, and so, when they get there, there's this guy who was trying to rob the place earlier in the movie who shows up. He's like, we got unfinished business, or we've got unfinished business to fucking settle right now. And he's pulls out some nunchucks.
Business. I know, the nunchuck fight.
So they but this is really unsatisfying because there's a nunchuck fight, right? You think that's kind of cool, right? Even though it's going to be hilariously bad. And one guy kind of knows how to use nunchucks, but then he throws it to the Kevin guy, and the Kevin guy doesn't even he just has them together and he's punching.
Yeah, the nunchucks last for all of 2 seconds, and I was very sad.
Yeah.
But so this guy got shot at earlier in the movie.
Right.
He literally brought nunchucks to a gunfight. What a fucking idiot.
Right.
Who does that? And
it's funny, too, because old crotchety Mr. Rogers, the security guard, Mr. McCready is what his name is, really.
Oh, that's his name, yeah.
He fires, the fantasy burglar guy pulls a gun on Kevin, and Kevin's like, no! And then fucking you hear a gunshot, but it's Mr. McCready with his fucking handy-dandy fucking pistol, and scares the I don't know if he shot the hobgoblin.
He shot the hobgoblin.
Is that what it was? Okay, because you see it kind of screech out the window, and it was that screech was pretty funny.
It falls over dead.
Yeah, well, it's someone holding it.
It's all.
But so the funny thing is after he fires the gun and kills the hobgoblin, apparently the rest of the hobgoblins, whoever's left, the 2 that are left, run back into the vault where they came from, and that he was guarding him for 30 fucking years. And Kevin and him go down there, and he's like, shouldn't we shut the vault or let him go? And he's like, I don't think we need to, I've been guarding him for 30 years and I just got fired by his boss, because he has this moment where he's like, you know what, fuck you, I don't even care anymore, fire me, whatever. Because the old crotchety Mr. Rogers McCready is getting fired by his shitty fucking boss. Anyway, so Kevin's all well, I could watch him. since you got fired, I can watch him. He's like, no, I wouldn't want you to waste your life, trying to spend your time trying to protect the world. There's a better way. And they go outside, and he's like, earlier in the movie, he's like telling him he was like a war hero or something like that. He was in the service. He was like, did I ever tell you, son, when I was in the service? So he says it again at the end. He's like, son, Kevin, did I ever tell you about what I did in the service? He's like, no, what did you do? And he was like, munitions. Pulls out a fucking little button, and you see the top of the fucking building just blow out. And it was just so funny to me. I don't know why.
I laughed too.
I laughed out loud at that part because I was like, because it was kind of like a badass, like, old man doing it. So it was pretty funny.
It was silly. There's a couple parts of this where I was just like, fuck.
Oh, man.
What is happening?
That was pretty funny, though. See, that's why I say, like, some of this stuff is, like, genuinely funny because it's...
Yeah, if I could take a couple of those scenes and just, like, squish them together to just make, like, a 10-minute movie of that.
Cut out all the extra.
Great.
Yeah.
It would be fantastic.
So you still think that you would watch Critters: A New Binge over this one, you think?
Under the Influence.
Okay.
See.
So it's very
Unless
close.
someone took the best scenes from this movie and spliced them together, and then I'd watch that.
Yeah. What are you trying to ask me to do that? Is that what you're saying?
I need the garden tool fight.
Yeah.
Definitely. So bad. Like, that has to happen.
Dude, it's terrible.
I need the Ramboing and him on fire.
Oh, yeah. And then him coming out later.
And him coming out fine.
Yeah.
And I definitely need the nunchuck scene, or the 2 seconds of nunchuck scene, which is comical on its own. And
I think the garden hoe fight is pretty epic.
It's the best.
Yeah.
It's so fucking dumb. But it was so funny. Like, 'cause it went on for like 5 minutes. I'm like, this is the longest, like, ridiculous fight scene I've seen in a long time.
I was like,
great.
Does this really need to be that long? Like, what are you making a point about? Other than him trying to be a man and this, like, pressure to be a man. And I was like,
him trying to one up the military.
I was
guy.
like, boy, you don't let him determine if you're a man, okay? This is 2019.
This
okay?
This is 1988, fool.
I know, but it's funny.
But
anyway, guys, what did you think of Hobgoblins? If you want to see it, you can watch it on fucking Amazon Prime. If you want to watch Critters: A New Binge, you can check it out on Shudder. See what you think. See if we're wrong. But yeah, I think that's all we got to say about that. For me, Hobgoblins is the winner. Brittany says, Under the Influence, Critters: A New Binge.
I'd rather, like, I don't know.
They're both terrible.
I really don't know. To be honest, I don't know. It's up in the air for me. I'll just shoot a dart at it.
Right.
Whatever one I hit, then I'll get stoned or drink a lot of booze.
Yeah, you have to subject yourself to some sort of alcohol in order to really get into it, I guess. Either one, huh?
Yeah.
You'll be hobbling out of your new cringe. Anyway.
Oh.
So, guys, thanks so much for coming by this week. Next week, we are going to be doing Pet Sematary. So we're going to watch that in the theaters. I'm probably going to, I think we should both watch the original just to get it out of the way. I think it's on Prime as well, just to get a comparison.
We just watched it not that long ago.
Yeah, it's not that bad, but I think it would give us a good comparison of the two, and then we'll fucking compare it to that movie and see what we liked or disliked about it, if it's worth seeing, all that shit for you guys. So definitely stick around for that. But other than that, guys, thanks so much for coming by this week. We'll see you next, and as always,
go fuck yourself. I'm just kidding. Stay weird, monsters.
God damn.
You have been listening to Beyond the Void Horror Podcast. Tune in